Today we are doing a Marvel Rivals tier list. This one's going to be a little different from all the other tier lists you've seen, because you've probably seen a billion by now. But the thing that's going to separate this from all the others is that all the others, they're all by top ranked players, and how they experience the game is not how 99% of the people experience their game. And I watch their tier lists and I'm like, okay, what they're saying is probably accurate for how they play at their rank, but it is not accurate for 99% of the people. It doesn't really make sense. So this is going to be a tier list for everyone else, just the average player. How I'm going to rank in these heroes is as if you're going into your solo queue game, but you at least have a team that is decent and not throwing, and you're all playing together, playing against a team that is also just playing together, just an average game with average people. So let's just go straight into the tier list. Okay, let's start with the tanks. Hulk, in my opinion, this one is not going to differentiate from the most tier lists with the high tier players. I think Hulk is still really bad. Hulk is just awful. Hulk does not really do much in games. Like, there are so many games I play where I feel like, oh, the enemy Hulk is just there to charge my ult, and it's great. So Hulk just is not very good in my opinion. There's a lot of tanks that feel like they don't do much. There's one that I think has a really big impact that's really underrated, but Hulk for me is probably one of the worst. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on these characters unless I have like a pretty big opinion that's different to most tier lists. Captain America, I think he's better than Hulk, but his damage just isn't high enough. It's okay if he has the Thor team up, but he really needs the Thor team up, otherwise I think he's pretty much useless. But he's very fun to play. But he's kind of just like, you just run, man. You just run until you find someone by themselves, and hopefully you get a kill. But it's rough playing Captain America, but he can do some things, especially with the Thor team up. But I still see him. So this is the big one that's going to differentiate from the higher tier players in the top ranks. That I don't think Doctor Strange is very good at all. In the high ranks he obviously is, but just in your normal games and your quick play games, he's not the best tank. He's just not. Given that you have a team that is coordinated enough to at least fight as a group and not trickle in, asking them to play around your shield and utilize all the utility that Doctor Strange gives is like too much to ask. And if you're just solo queuing, and even if sometimes when you're playing with friends, like, Doctor Strange is not going to be good enough. And there are so many times where I just go against Doctor Strange and I'm like, oh, cool, he's just holding up a shield, he's really not doing anything, I'm just going to shoot the people not standing behind it, just completely ignore him. He does absolutely nothing. He can do some things, and he's not completely terrible, but he's absolutely not the best tank in the game unless you're at the very high ranks and you can like fully utilize what he does and what he gives, like offers your team. But just in your regular games, he's not that good. Like, I completely fine. I love going against a Doctor Strange. I do not care if I don't have one on my team. He's not the best unless you're at like the very high level. Groot feels very much similar. His walls fuck you up more than not. I've had Iron Man ults blocked by my own teammate's Groot wall, who throws it up at the last minute. I've been trapped and killed by my own teammate with a Groot wall. Sometimes they do well and they get like separate the team. Like, other times it just feels like he's not doing anything, and I never go against a group and feel like, oh, this group's just destroying our team, we need to find a way to play around this group. It just never happens. He's fine, he's not terrible, he's not in C tier or anything, he has a good ult, he's fine, but I'm going to keep him in B tier. Magneto, however, I still think is very, very good. I think he's the second best tank in the game. He's very, very strong. The better shield tank in my opinion. I don't know, people can know they swap between him and Strange in the top ranks. I think in the lower ranks and just your average game, he probably provides more than Doctor Strange does. His ult is still very good. Solid tank, there's nothing really to say that I can say that you don't know already. Magneto is just solid. Thor, in my opinion, absolutely, unquestionably the best tank in my opinion. I think Thor is fucking incredible. The damage that Thor does is unmatched. Thor is essentially a DPS character with 600 health, that every time he uses ability on a 2-second cooldown, he gets 100 health. Yeah, he is one of the best characters in the game in my opinion. He is the best tank in the game, not even close. He is just insane. You dash in, hit twice, use throw your hammer, that's 200 health for using those two abilities. You use your awaken mode, you fire off 9 to 10 shots if you time it right, you shred someone, you kill them, maybe you kill 2 people. You press your E, you do that whole chain again, use your ultimate, you slam down, hopefully you have enough time to stall a bit, get your E again, and then you just do it all again. Like, he's insane. The amount of damage that he pumps out is absolutely incredible. He has the best team up in the entire game, in my opinion, with Hela, who is obviously one of the best characters in the game. It's very hard to kill Thor. I feel very confident, like comfortable, like diving into a room of 3 with Thor, knowing that I can pretty much get out whenever the hell I want. I can heal 100 shield whenever the hell I want. Just over and over again. Like, this guy just absolutely wrecks teams. And he's the only tank, in my opinion, whether I'm playing him or playing against him, that I feel is actually doing things constantly all the time. It is a threat and has to be like taken care of. In the higher ranks, I hear people say like, oh, it's fine, the whole team just focuses him and he dies. Well, that does not happen in quick play games. If you dive into an enemy team, the whole team is not all going to stop, stare at you and shoot you and kill you. It's not going to happen. It does not happen. You can just go in with Thor and completely disrupt their team. You are constantly doing something. Thor is just, he's the best, man. He really is. His ultimate is bad, though. His ultimate is pretty bad. You can sometimes get a kill or 2 with it. A lot of the time you want to use it to bring that cooldown, reset the cooldown on your E. So you use E, you use your awaken. Maybe by the time you're using that, you got a hammer so you can fly in, use your ult, reset that cooldown and just go again. So Thor, he's insane, dude. He's so good. Penny Parker is a tank that a lot of people say is really bad, and then a lot of people say really good. So the players that I hear saying that Penny Parker is really good are really most people, and then it's the high tier players, the high rank players that say no, Penny Parker is bad. You're so easy to play around, and that is true in high ranks. But in low ranks, when you're playing against teams that aren't communicating properly, they're assuming you're playing together, but you're not fully communicating like in a voice chat, Penny Parker still dominates. And I think Penny Parker is still B tier, and I think Penny Parker is better than Doctor Strange in just your straight up solo queue, quick play game where you're playing against average players and you're an average player yourself. You're not a top ranked player, no one in your game is. Penny Parker is just solid, very consistent, good damage, just good. Her web is just, a good timed web is so good, man. It's so good. I have gotten a lot of respect for Penny Parker. I thought she was really just straight up dog shit when I first started, but she's like proven to actually be kind of decent. Players don't play around her like they do in the high ranks, and you can definitely get good value if you want to be a Penny Parker main. Venom is interesting. So Venom gets hard countered by the 2 most played supports in the game. But in low ranks, there is no meta, okay? There is no meta unlike the high ranks. So in the high ranks, you probably see the same maybe 10 characters over and over again. And it's usually 2 supports. In quick play, and just in most games, in ranked, in low ranked games, you see a good variety of pretty much all the supports. Mantis and Luna Snow completely counter this dude. If they don't have them though, this guy can just wreck. And I think he can bring a lot of value to a team. I think he's even, is he better than Doctor Strange? Because Doctor Strange really doesn't do a lot in a random game. I'm going to keep him in C. But I see the potential. The potential is there. Even if you're a low ranked player and you're not very good, but you have a group of friends and you want to play like a dive comp, just go with like Venom and some other dive characters. I could see him working and even being A tier. But if you're just kind of doing it alone because Venom's like the only tank you play, you don't really have the team with you, you just don't get the value out of him. So they're the tank rankings, and Thor, hot take, is my #1 tank by far. I think he is really damn good. You can just play him as a solo tank. You can do whatever you want because he's so consistent and he has so much sustainability, better than any of the other tanks because of the healing. The only thing you need with Thor is to make sure you have a healer, so to keep you alive during your awakened state, because you can't heal when you're doing that. And you're pretty much good. I think Thor is just I think in a month's time, it's going to come around and Thor will be played in the high ranks will be meta because the team up with Hela is insane. Just being able to res Thor on a Hela kill is broken. So let's go to the damage characters now. Black Panther, he is solid, he's pretty good. I think he's probably B tier in normal ranks, in like normal games. His skill ceiling is absolutely incredible. If all melee characters are played to the maximum potential, he is probably number one among all melee characters. He is so hard to hit. He can constantly reset his dash, but that's the thing. If you don't constantly reset that dash, you're very vulnerable. And can an average player constantly do that? If you're playing against a Black Panther, are you scared? Not really. If you have one on your team, are you happy? Not really. If you're playing Black Panther, are you going to dominate every single game? If you're just an average player, probably not. If you're a high rank player, are you going to dominate? Probably. So, high rank, he's very good. I think he's probably B tier in just your average ranks. Black Widow, bad in high ranks, bad in low ranks, just an awful character, probably the worst in the game. There's just so many characters you can play that get the same amount of value as her that are just way easier to use. Hawkeye, in my opinion, is A+. Just really damn good character, so easy to use. Even though he's very heavily relies on aim, he's just so spammable. His damage is so high, he can shred tanks. The only downside to him, in my opinion, is that even though he has tools to get rid of dives, he's still kind of diveable, but it's kind of his ultimate. His ultimate, in my opinion, I thought was going to be broken. But the fact that the shadows disappear as soon as you lose line of sight of the character kind of sucks, but it's still really good. I still think he's A+. He's absolutely solid. Now, here's the hot take for me. In high ranks, Hela absolutely shreds, absolutely dominates her. She's better than Hawkeye in high ranks because a good player can just go ping, 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 you're dead. It's hit scan, the damage is consistent, it's fast, you don't have to rely on a headshot from a projectile. Hela's just incredible in high ranks. But in low ranks, she is not as good because players don't have the mechanical skill to consistently shred with Hela. Now, I've played this game like 8 hours a day since it came out. And the amount of times that I have played a game where Hela has absolutely taken over the game, absolutely dominated, and I'm like, oh, this is why the high ranked players are complaining. I've queued into a quick play game with a player who is probably in the top 1% and is absolutely shredding. I've seen that maybe twice, maybe 3 times. It doesn't happen very often. Hela is still good. Hela is still fine. She relies on aim. She is very easy to dive on. A good Hela can absolutely dominate, take over the game, but your average Hela is probably not going to do that. There are easier characters to play characters that you can get more value out of. And I think Hela is fine, absolutely fine. There is nothing wrong with having a Hela on your team. She's absolutely playable in low ranks. She's just not as dominant. Just still good, just not as dominant. Iron Fist. Iron Fist is actually a character that I think is better in low ranks than high ranks. But I still think he's probably B. I think he's probably better than Panther in like low ranks. High ranks, no way is that the case. But the reason I think for that is because the weakness with Iron Fist is actually like he's very vulnerable when he doesn't have his dash and shield, which you kind of need to engage and like actually kill someone. And even with your shield, when you can get that like attack boost where you're punching really fast, you don't really have the damage output because your damage is like kind of slow over time. You're extremely good at 1v1 and you don't have the damage output to kind of 2v1 people. When you're diving at a backline, if you really need to find someone who's completely isolated and you need to jump on them and kill them before someone can peel back and help, because once that happens, you've got to get out, otherwise you're just going to die. Especially because if you engage with your dash and you end up using your shield or your block, you can't stay in that fight. You have to get out straight away, and that's why he's not as good in high ranks. But in low ranks, the communication isn't there, like the peeling isn't there when you dive on someone in the back line. And then of course, like there are characters that are a lot easier to dive, like Adam Warlock and Jeff, which are played a lot more in low ranks because there's no meta. People just play whatever they want. So Iron Fist is a lot better in mid ranks. I think he's B. He's probably my most played damage character. I really, really like him. If I wanted to be biased, I'd probably put him at A because he's so fun. I think he's really good. You can really tell the difference between someone who mains Iron Fist and like really plays him more than any other damage character, even if it's an average player, compared to someone who's just like, oh, I'm going to have an Iron Fist game, who does absolutely nothing. But that's why I think he's in B tier, because he can have games where he does nothing. So Iron Man, here's the big one. He's the big one that's going to be very different for me compared to all the other tier lists. A lot of people say Iron Man's the worst character in the game. Now, in high ranks, that's probably true, because there are a lot of things that counter him. However, in mid ranks, in just average games, Iron Man is legit. Iron Man is really, really fucking good. The reason for that is because things like Hela and Punisher, players don't have the mechanical skill to consistently take you out, and all you need to do is position yourself where you have line of sight on the rest of the team and not the Hela and Punisher, which is going to be real kind of easy to do. Like, it's not hard. Like, it's really not hard. Your damage is very easy to pump out. It's very consistent. Using your E into your beam will take out pretty much any character you want to in close range. Players don't have the support from like their healers and stuff to kind of out heal the damage you're pumping out as consistently in the higher ranks compared to just the mid ones. So Iron Man's like legit. He's still actually good. His ultimate, I hear a lot of people say, oh, just run out of the way, just run out of the way. If you're firing that thing across the world into the enemy team where they have time to run away, then you probably don't deserve to get a kill. But like, my favorite thing to do is so satisfying, just hovering over a doorway and the team just runs in and you're literally on top of them and they have no idea, and you just fire your ult and just get 5 kills. It's like the most satisfying thing ever. But yeah, Iron Man's good. Like, his positioning, you can be anywhere on the map. Like, you can hover around corners and walls, and like, that's how you just want to play safe with Iron Man. Don't be in the floating in the middle of the sky with no cover around. Position yourself well, and Iron Man's good. Like, he is legit. Magic, in my opinion, is, if you're just, unless you're like a god with mechanically, play Magic over Black Panther. If you're an absolute god mechanically and you don't miss your dashes and you can constantly reset them and go crazy, Black Panther is the best melee character. But Magic is a lot easier to use and a lot better in low rank games, and it's like legit really, really damn good. Magic, she's just a beast, an absolute beast. Her ultimate is fine, it's decent, just very solid character. Moon Knight is busted in low rank games. People are starting to figure out, hey, just shoot the stupid fucking onk, and this guy's value just drops down a lot. But people still don't really do that. So he's very good into low ranks. He's just very easy to use. His value is just so easy to get. He's probably the easiest. Would he be the easiest character to use in the game? No, Scarlet Witch. But this is probably the second easiest character to use. Just good character. Ultimate is pretty decent. You can definitely still get kills with it. He's just good. The reason he's in A+, which you probably wouldn't see him in A+ in like most people's tier list, is just basically because he's moved down because a lot of players have the skill to utilize the kits of like Panther and Hela a lot better, which puts them above Moon Knight because they have a higher skill ceiling. But consistently, Moon Knight's going to get more value. Namor is, dude, he's good. Like, he's really damn good. He's better than Hawkeye. He's better than Hawkeye because of the turrets. Turrets auto lock on. So we're in a world where everyone doesn't have god tier aim. Those turrets come in big. They come in clutch. He has very consistent damage like Hawkeye. He's essentially Hawkeye, but you're trading a one-shot potential for more consistent damage with your turrets, which in high ranks would make Hawkeye better. In low ranks makes Namor a lot better. Namor's legit. I played a lot of games with Namor. Not actually, I've played a lot of games recently with Namor. I have a friend who has played a lot of games recently with Namor, and we have not had a game like under 28 kills yet. So this dude's legit. He's just insane. He's really, really good. If you haven't tried him, you have to. Like, he is incredible, incredible. Next is Psylocke. Very like heavily mechanically based hero. Has like a nice one-shot combo on like really squishy targets. She's solid. Very, very good ultimate in low ranks. Very, very good ultimate. Very weak when her cooldowns run out though. She's heavily relies on her cooldowns, but your aim needs to be very, very good as well on Psylocke. So if your aim is like really, really strong, she's probably A tier. Because Psylocke pops off a hell of a lot more in my games than Hela does. I think Psylocke's legit. I'm going to put her in A tier. Punisher as well. Punisher's strong. I think his shotgun's underrated, but his ultimate's obviously strong. People are really learning to play around the torrent though. And Punishers, I don't know if you noticed, Punisher players kind of brain dead. They seem to just sit in their turret, and like every time I play Iron Fist, I'm just there punching him and pounding him in the back of the head, and they just don't do anything. They just sit there and let themselves die. It's like they're completely oblivious that they're taking a shit ton of damage. But they're fine. Like Punisher's fine. He's very consistent. If you're a new player and you play like, you know, your Call of Duties and shit, just play this guy and get used to the game. He's good. He's decent. Now Scarlet Witch, this is a big one that's going to be very different in low ranks to high ranks. And the ult is just insane. And you know, we all know in high ranks, Scarlet Witch, you can just focus her before her ultimate goes off and you're never going to get that ult off. And you're never going to get kills with it. And you would think in low ranks that would be the case as well. In your regular quick play games, that would be the case as well. But it's not. And you would have, you know, we've all seen it in every single game we're playing against the Scarlet Witch. She uses the whole, you get out of the way because you're a support. You don't have the damage. You're a tank. You don't have the damage. You get out of the way. You get behind cover. The ult goes off. You look in the top right of your screen, and 3 of your teammates have just died, completely ignoring the fact that there is a Scarlet Witch screaming at the top of her lungs, floating over your team, and they'll just completely lose to and die. Happens every single game. Her left click, very easy to aim. The damage is very slow, trickles over time. Very bad in high ranks because they can just shred her before she gets a kill. But in low ranks, when you're fighting against people that don't have enough aim to like kill you before you kill them, she's kind of just good in low ranks. Just in your quick play games, in your solo queue games, she's just good. She just is. Yeah, against like good DPS characters, you can kill her before she kills them. She'll put in some work, but for the most part, she's actually pretty good in low ranks. Spider-Man is C tier. So Spider-Man, very, very good movement. That one-shot combo, you need to master that one-shot combo. If there's two characters where you need to spend hours in the practice range before you come out and play them, because you're going to get shredded unless you've mastered the mechanics, is like this character and Black Panther, in my opinion. So Spider-Man, his movement is so good, but his movement is not good enough to make him good, because he comes in, he does a little bit of damage, he gets out. Unless you get that kill, you're essentially doing nothing, and you might as well just jump off the map. You've really, really got to put in some work and get some consistent good damage, dive those targets, work on your one-shot combo. If you can do that, great, cool. But how many times do you press tab when you're going into a game and you see a Spider-Man and you're like, fuck yes, we get to play against a Spider-Man? And how many times do you roll your eyes when you see that you have a Spider-Man on your team? All the time. I'm never scared to go against a Spider-Man. I don't want a Spider-Man on my team unless it's played by Missouri, the GOAT. But yeah, it's just, he's in C tier. He's in C tier. He's just too hard to use for a normal player. Squirrel Girl is, in my opinion, just a bad Hawkeye. Just play Hawkeye, but she's fine. You can still play her if you like Squirrel Girl over Hawkeye because you just like the character or whatever. You can play her. She's fine. She's not bad at all. But if you really want to sweat it out and play like the best character you can, just play Hawkeye instead. Star-Lord is interesting. Star-Lord's a lot better in low ranks. I think his ultimate's better. I see a lot of people rank him very low. The problem with Star-Lord is you need really, really strong aim with Star-Lord. You need to like one-clip people. Because his reload time's annoying. Obviously you have the dash to like reset your reload time, and the damage fall-off's kind of annoying. He's just kind of in like that awkward spot where the long-range characters are just better, the short-range characters are just better, but he's just that mid-range guy who kind of wants to get close, but if he gets too close he just dies. If he's too far away he does nothing. But his ultimate is obviously really, really damn good, especially in low ranks. You can always get 2, maybe even 3 kills with it. You've kind of just got to build your ult, try not to be a hero. Just build your ult, get consistent damage, then try and pop off with it. And I still think that's fine. He still does pretty good in low ranks, but he doesn't take over games. He's very similar to Squirrel Girl and even like Hella in the way that you don't often see him take over games in low ranks as much. And in high ranks, it's probably even easier to take advantage of, and his ult probably doesn't get as much value, but in the low ranks, that's where this character is. He probably has a top 3 ultimate in low ranks. Storm, in my opinion, is really, really bad. So in high ranks, I see everyone who does their tier list who's like a good player in the top 1%, they have Storm over Iron Man. And I think that's fine. Because when you're communicating with your team and everything, you can just players are smart enough to like play around the Storm damage boost and the speed boost to like fully utilize the utility that Storm gives. But in low ranks you don't really have that. You don't have the team fully playing around you properly. Your damage isn't as consistent as Iron Man's. So Iron Man, you just pump out that damage, but I think your ultimate is definitely better in low ranks with Iron Man. I think Iron Man in low ranks is just Iron Man's better. Absolutely, unquestionably, Iron Man is better. In high ranks, I don't think either of them are actually that good, but Storm's probably better. Winter Soldier, he's good. He's very similar to Psylocke, where he takes over games sometimes, a lot more than you see Hela and Black Panther do. I'm going to put him at the back of A. Obviously his ultimate, one of the funnest ultimates to use. Like, this is such a well-designed character. Probably the best designed character. Hey, you can use your abilities to reset your reload. It's just so fun to play. He's so satisfying. He's very good. He's very good. I think I'm going to put him above Scarlet Witch. I think Punisher might be a little easier to use, so that's the only reason I'm putting him below Punisher. Obviously, if you're very mechanically gifted and you can fully take advantage of his gun and his aim and everything, especially his ultimate, if you have the aim to like consistently kill people after you use your ultimate, then he's probably A+. But most players don't. But he's still solid. So I'm going to put him in A. But is he better than Psylocke? Punisher probably has to go above Psylocke because he's more consistent. I'll keep Psylocke there just because the ultimate's so much easier to use. Wolverine is bad. I don't think he's bad as these two. But he's not good. He's not good. His ultimate, when it connects, is like, it's fun. It's pretty solid. He's just, I don't know, when I saw this character, everyone was very hyped, but I was very worried about him because he seems, to me, he's a Thor clone. He's just like Thor, except he has a lower health pool and no self-sustainability. Obviously he's more of like a tank killer. He just shreds tanks, and Thor is more of like a just come in, disrupt, just constant damage, just unkillable. But his play style seems very similar to Thor. You just want to be jumping in, shredding the tanks, but the whole team will just shoot you, but you don't have the survivability of Thor. And he's like, if they nerfed Thor to the ground, he would just be Wolverine. Like, so, he's not very good right now. Okay, to the supports. Adam Warlock. Is he the worst support? Well, none of these are bad. So straight away, these are all minimum B tier. Is Adam Warlock the worst? See, with Adam Warlock, all his damage relies on his aim, which is a hit scan, and you want to play very passively with, so you're very far away from the opponents, because you don't want to be vulnerable, because if you die and you can't use your ultimate, you're essentially just throwing. So he's the hardest to aim with by far out of all the supports, just because of how passively and far away you have to play. So I don't think he's probably the worst in low ranks. Very easy to dive on, especially when you're not communicating with your team and you don't have someone who can consistently peel for you and just like help you when someone jumps on you. He's probably the worst. He's probably below Groot. He's probably down here. But yeah, if you're really good at aiming, like legit, then you can play Adam Warlock and you can probably be like top of A maybe, especially if you know how to position yourself safely. He's good. Their res is clutch. I just think there are better supports. So Cloak and Dagger, it's probably bottom of A+. So the healing is just very good. You don't have to aim. The damage is decent because you don't have to aim. She's like the support version of Scarlet Witch, except the value you get from her is a little bit better because she's healing and stuff. She's just solid. She's just good. If you're learning to play the game and you don't really know how to aim well, she's probably the go-to healer. Jeff's solid. I'm like the only person in the world who kind of hates Jeff. I don't like Jeff at all. I hate his ultimate. His ultimate, in my opinion, is the only ultimate that feels bad. When he swallows half your team and just suicides himself off the map to kill 3 of your team. It just feels bad. It feels really bad. And then when there's no ledge for him to drive off and commit suicide, his ultimate feels completely useless. So it's either like feels bad for him because his ultimate does nothing, or it feels really bad for you. And I don't know. It's like one of those ultimates where like no one wins. It's just I don't know. It feels off to me, but he's still legit. Like it's not a bad ultimate, but I'm just saying it feels shit. Space healing, it's decent. It's fine. I just think there are better healers. Loki, in my opinion, is really damn strong. Loki is really, really good. So the reason Loki is bad in high ranks is because it is so easy to just destroy his clones in high ranks. Once you get rid of the clones, Loki is essentially useless. But in low ranks, players don't really kill them as much as you'd think they would. So you can get like a lot more value from Loki. The survivability probably has one of the best survivabilities of all the healers. Rocket's very good with his movement, but just teleporting between your clones and like going invisible, Loki's so fun to play. Just copying someone's character and using that ult against them, it's one of the most satisfying things you can do. I really, really like Loki. He's A tier for me. Rocket Raccoon, I'm gonna put in B tier. I'm gonna put him around Adam Warlock. He has movement and everything, which is cool, but I don't think his damage is the best, and I don't think his healing is the best. His team up with Punisher and Winter Soldier is fine, but I don't think it's like game breaking or anything. I think he's just okay. I think he's just okay. And then we have these two to finish off the tier list. I'm gonna do these two together because they are 1 and 2. They are the best 2 characters in the game. These are just broken, in my opinion. Maybe not broken individually, but when played together, they are absolutely broken. Having 2 just amazing defensive ults, the damage boost and the healing from Mantis is really good. They both have stuns as well, like the sleep and the freeze. They just completely counter Venom. Venom can't do anything, dives in, does nothing. You get his shields down low. Once he pops his shield, you freeze him. Once that freeze is done, you sleep him, he's dead. Sometimes you don't even need the second one. These characters are just insane. Like, these are the only characters, in my opinion, that in the high ranks and the low ranks and the mid ranks and like whatever, these are the only characters that I must pick. I think every team needs Mantis and Luna Snow or they're throwing. Like, these are just legit. And would they be here? Because I don't think they need nerfs like individually, but when they're played together, it's just you're one defensive ult into another, and hey, you can't play the game for 30 seconds. Pretty good, but individually, A+, together, just broken, just absolutely broken. They're insane. So this is the tier list. Thor, very, very high. Thor is my guy. I think Thor is legit. I think people are sleeping on how good Thor is actually. Thor is the best. Thor is insane. Moon Knight and Namor, just very easy to use, especially with the how your left click just pings around everywhere and your turrets just make Namor so consistent. Hawkeye is just really, really strong. Dagger's just easy to use. And this is pretty much it. I feel pretty good about it. Iron Man and Hela are the two big ones that are different. Iron Man, just players don't have the skill to fully take advantage of you and just completely delete you from the game in the high ranks. And a part of that is because Hela is not as good in low ranks. She's still fine. She just doesn't destroy and take over games like she does in high ranks. And you know, you can feel it when you play quick play and you queue into a game with a opposing Hela who is legit and absolutely shreds everyone. It's game breaking. Like, she is up here, absolutely. But it just doesn't happen in just your average games. Like, she is just there. She's fine. She's not bad. She's not insane. But obviously her skill ceiling is endless because she's like all about aim. But yeah, this is my tier list. Let me know what you think about it. Let me know what you agree with, what you disagree with, and let me know who your main is. I want to know who everyone's maining and who everyone's playing, and who everyone think is like the most underrated character in the game. But if you made it this far, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.